Welcome back, everyone, to the New York Giants franchise here on Madden NFL 22. Guys, you can see up on the board, we are here. It is draft time. Minnesota has the first pick of the 2022 NFL draft. I'm probably thinking they're taking Jamari Greenwood, quarterback here, custom player. There's a lot of custom prospects in this draft class, guys, but keep in mind, there are some CPU-generated players that are sprinkled into this draft class, like that guy. Cameron Rivers would be one. I think Jadavian Colbert was a guy as well. Arthur Zambowski's a player that I'm looking at. He's a custom player. Left tackle. Blaze Killing's a wide receiver. Joel Streeter is not a custom player. He's a CPU-generated guy. So there's guys that are sprinkled in here that are CPU. There's guys that are sprinkled in here that are custom players like Marshall Hendricks. I like getting you guys involved. I really do. I think it adds a different element to the series, and it keeps you guys invested for the long haul. But either way, if you missed the last episode, we took care of some things as far as free agency goes. We had to release some people to free up some cap space. Dave Gettleman had a lot of back-loaded contracts and a lot of bad contracts, in my opinion. So we're really hurting for cap space. So we absolutely have to hit in this draft. Absolutely have to hit. Now, what positions we go after? To me right now, it's obviously positions of need, depth pieces, offensive line, backups at offensive line, backups on the defensive line, and really looking at best player available, really trying to get the best bang for your buck, so to speak. So again, if you guys missed the last episode, make sure you guys check it out because it does kind of explain why our team is the way that it is right now. But we're going into the draft right now, guys. Let's get it underway. We've got Jamari Greenwood going to the Minnesota Vikings. So as expected, the number one overall player is going to the Vikings. Now, this is kind of cool because we could be playing him in the playoffs eventually. We might even get him in the regular season at one point. So maybe an NFC rivalry brewing between the Giants and the Vikings. So we had Sheldon Dinkelberg going to the Raiders, Declan Delaney going to the Lions, and then we got Dalton Jett, a guy that I really wanted, going to Washington. So we're going to have to play him twice a year. So he's going to be a really good player. That's unfortunate because I don't want to play a guy like Dalton Jett twice a year. He's a good linebacker. We had Ray Drake going to the Jets, Gavin Goddard going here to the Eagles, so we got to watch out for him now. Eric Kroom, defensive tackle, going to go to the Chargers, custom player. He really impressed in his combine, guys. He was really athletic for a defensive tackle, and I think that's really what caught the eye of the Chargers. Brendan Hoff, custom player, going to the Falcons. Nas Williams, custom player, going to the Jets. So they've had two custom players go to the New York Jets. Bucci Chidozie, one of the most athletic defensive ends, a speed rusher, finesse rusher type of player, going to go to the Denver Broncos. Luke Kepler, going to go to Carolina. So a defensive back, a corner, highly rated corner. How many picks do the Eagles have in the first round? My goodness, man, we're going to have to contest with these guys. But Latham Gringlas, a custom player, going to the Browns. Lambeau Ferrari is going to do really nicely, I think, in Houston. He's going to be a nice player. He ran the fastest 40 time for wide receivers at 4.2. Goes with the name without saying, right? Liad Letterman, going to go to Chicago. Mitchell Simmons, another custom prospect. He's going to go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Dexter Savage being taken here, a left outside linebacker, going to Chicago. And now it's time for our pick. And what are we going to do with our pick? It's a really tough question because, again, we could easily try to fill our depth in our backup offensive line group. Maybe we get lucky. Maybe one of those offensive linemen are actually better. There's a couple guys that I'm looking at. I'm looking at Arthur Zambowski. I'm looking at possibly taking a quarterback. Could we take a quarterback? Could we take D. Williams, another custom player? Could we take a running back? There's a lot of really super freaky running backs in this group. We take another wide receiver. I don't think we're taking wide receiver, even though I think just maybe giving Daniel Jones another couple weapons after we lost Dante Pettis, we lost John Ross, we lost CJ Board in the offseason as well. Guys, I can't find CJ Board. I don't know what happened to him. I guess another glitch in Madden. Could we get another backup tight end? Spencer Burton is a freak. He's a freak. He's tall. He's lanky. He's like Darren Waller, man. Could we get another Darren Waller behind Evan Ingram? It's a tough call. Look at our group right now. Look at our roster. Jones and PJ Walker. Is Jones, did he have a freak season? Do we really need to draft another quarterback? Is Daniel Jones the answer? I think he proved to us that he's got at least another year for us to consider him. Offensive line, we don't have any backups in our offensive line group. Other than left tackle, we had Jason Spriggs. He signed at the left tackle spot. If we did draft Zambowski, he would have to move over to right tackle, or he'd have to move to left tackle. Spriggs would have to move to right. It's just, there aren't any guards. There is one center, Jason Steffa, not a custom player, but I was thinking about possibly adding him. But so far, our offensive line is pretty much set. Dennis Winston leads the way here at 7.2 for a combine grade at middle linebacker. He's another guy I'm looking at. Right end, could we possibly go with an end like Michael Kreutz? Had a 6.4. Romeo Reyes, a little bit lower rated, but he had a better combine. It's just a really tough call for us. Look at Kreutz right now. Didn't really impress in the combine, so I'm not really considering him. Zambowski was one of the fastest 40-yard dash runners for offensive linemen, for left tackles specifically. Clay Campbell, a free safety. He's a freak, but we don't need a free safety. We've got Logan Ryan. We've got Xavier McKinney. Julian Love back there. Jabril Peppers. Like, these guys are really good safeties, and we've got them locked up for a few more seasons. But Dennis Winston's really catching my eye. And it's a tough call because Josey, Jewell, and Blake Martinez, and now Dennis Winston, but he's too hard to pass up. And I think we hit a big one right here. 75 overall player, 90 speed at linebacker, 86 agility. I think we got ourselves a really good player right here. And as we watch the rest of this draft unfold, as we see Grant being taken by the Patriots and then Joey Allman, tight end, going to the Cardinals, I do feel like, even though we're loaded now at middle linebacker, I do feel like that was a good move for us because Blake Martinez is making a lot of money. He's getting a little bit older as well, and once his contract expires, I think it would make sense to move on from him. And now we got Jewell, who's a little bit younger, and we've also got Winston, who's on the up and up. Plus, he's got that hidden dev trait as well. So I'm actually excited about that group of three at the linebacker position. We're really planning a contingency plan for when Blake Martinez is gone. But you guys saw a couple custom prospects going off the board here as we were just discussing the rationale of taking a player like Dennis Winston there. Arthur Zambowski going to the 49ers. You got Forsberg going to the Colts. So another couple customs going to other teams. You've got Kreutz going to go to Atlanta. Josh Bankston. So Denver's really hitting the custom prospect defense side of things for their draft, so they selected him. You also got Xavier Hawkins going to the Baltimore Ravens. And let's see what else we've got here. The Browns taking a player. Peters going to the Houston Texans. Not a custom player at all, but JoJo Carter, cornerback. So they went wide receiver with Liad Letterman, and now they're going to go with cornerback in JoJo Carter. Marshall Hendricks going to go to Pittsburgh. And then Rory Welsh, a Jacksonville Jaguar now, custom player, taken right ahead of us. I wasn't looking at wide receiver anyway, but I was looking at Josh Steffa possibly there with the second round pick for us. It really sucks because Nick Gates in this sim is always hurt somehow. He's always missing time. So I felt like getting a center of Steffa's caliber. He was a round one grade that was starting to slip a little bit, and that would have been a really nice pick for us. But now we're kind of looking through the weeds here and who we're going to take, and we didn't really scout a whole lot of the middle rounds here. But the only thing that makes sense for us, because I don't feel like taking a wide receiver smart here. We don't need strong safeties. I'm not going to take a lineman that we didn't scout, and we're going to go with Romeo Reyes. I knew going into this that Romeo Reyes was going to be a solid player. He's got some solid speed as a right end. He was a round 3 grade, but he does have that hidden dev trait. So it's a minimum of a star dev, and we need an end. We need a backup end in that 3-4 type of defensive set. And I think he's going to be a good player for us. We got Dexter Lawrence there. We've got Leonard Williams there. So obviously Dexter Lawrence is on the younger side of things, but defensive tackle might be a position that we want to focus on here as well, because Danny Shelton right now is the only defensive tackle on our roster, and he's getting up there. He's getting up there in age, and he's actually making a lot of money, so we need to possibly figure out what we're going to do about DT in the future. So here we are in round 3, and we actually have 2 round 3 picks. You guys saw some other custom players up on the board leaving us, and I didn't get a chance to tell you guys who those were, but I do actually have a Google Sheet down in the description and a pinned comment below for you guys if you wanted to take a look at who the prospects were, as well as where they were drafted by. So that way you can kind of have a way to go back to this, and we can kind of follow them throughout their career. I'll have one for year 2 players as well, so don't fret. And every year that we do this, every year that we have a draft in this series, I'll keep you guys updated on where these guys are at so we can kind of keep track of them. But in round 3, who's up on the board? Running back, maybe. Morgan Irons really impressed in the combine at a 7.5 combine grade. But really, again, when we're looking down at these round 4 type of players, there's nothing really that's standing out to me other than Sarek Martin, 7.5, one of the highest combine grades for a running back up on the board left. He's considered an early 5th rounder. We could possibly get him with the 4th round pick, but do we want to wait? That's the question. That's a key question. Or do we go ahead and we take Morgan Irons he's also at a 7.5, but he's got a round 1 grade, so it's a really tough call. But you know what, guys? We're going to go to the defensive side of things again, and we're going to take a defensive tackle, Henry Tatum, because look at this dude. He's not a custom prospect, but look at this dude. Did you see his grades? He was a top 5 in every category at the combine. He's a freak. Look at the strength rating at an 89, the tackle at a 79, the acceleration at an 85. For DT, that's some pretty hefty stuff. And a normal dev, I'm okay with it. We got good value, and I think it helps us because not only do we have a contingency plan for Danny Shelton in the long run, he's going to be our backup defensive tackle right off the get-go. So he's going to be a contributor, a day 1 contributor for this team in year number 2. And he's going to progress, and he's going to be a solid player for us. And behind that defensive line, we've already got a pretty good defense as it is. So I'm looking for Danny Shelton to kind of give way a little bit here to Henry Tatum in the future, which is a really good pick for us. I'm really happy about that pick. I'm really happy about where we got him, too. A couple custom prospects off the board. We had Nazaro. I think we had Aiden Stevko going to the Colts. So the Colts have been really heavy on custom players. We had Morgan Irons taken right ahead of us. I was really hoping that Morgan Irons was going to be there for this pick for us, round 3, pick 25. Now, I'm really looking at offensive side of things now. We've addressed defense with all of our picks to this point. We've got our backup DT, we got a backup right end, we got a middle linebacker. I think it's time we better go after offense right here. Now, the question is do we go after a quarterback? And I'm looking at Clark Russell. I almost called him Carl Russell, but Clark Russell, would he be a good pick for us? I don't know. Got PJ Walker. We do need a 3rd quarterback. He could compete for that QB2 job. There's nothing really else impressive here. Clark Russell does kind of go with what we try to do on offense, having a mobile quarterback. His throw power is an A+. His throw on the run is a B+. He kind of does what Daniel Jones does, and he kind of does what PJ Walker does. So I'm kind of impressed with Clark Russell from Florida as a scrambler. We can work with him a little bit. There's no rush per se. Daniel Jones is our starter, but it's always good to kind of go cheap at quarterback right here for your backups and your 3rd stringer, just in case anything happens. And you got to feel comfortable with the guy that is literally holding on to the football every snap of the game. So if something ever did happen to Jones, I'd feel comfortable with PJ Walker, and I'd probably feel comfortable here with Clark Russell if we took him here. But he's a 5th round projection, but a 3rd round talent. And we're in the 3rd round now, and he has the best combine numbers out of quarterbacks that are available. So I'm highly considering him here. But could we wait? Could we possibly wait to go get him? I'm looking at Paul Andrews. as a wide receiver from Michigan. He's got size, 6'3". Now, we did lose some players. Like I mentioned, we lost Pettis, we lost Ross, we lost CJ Boards, we lost some speed. So maybe we better start looking at some size for that wide receiver depth. Then there's Clark Russell again, and then we got Sarek Martin right behind him. And we go with Clark Russell. He's a 69 overall quarterback in the 3rd round. I think it's a good pick for us. 96 throw power, 75 accuracy ratings. Obviously, those can get worked on, but nice little value pick. He's a normal dev, so I'm just not concerned about it. You know, he's going to compete with PJ Walker for the backup job, the backup number 2 job behind Daniel Jones. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with this guy. Like I said, it's all about who you're comfortable with behind center if something does happen to your quarterback. And, I do like guys that can get out of the pocket. I like guys that can get out of the pocket because we know that a lot of players in this NFC, like, DeMarcus Lawrence, and now Dalton Jett, a really good linebacker here for Washington. It's going to be some scary defenses that we got to go up against. And with that offensive line being kind of shaky for New York, yeah, we're going to need a quarterback that's got some speed that can get out of the pocket and get out of there. We also have Valentine here, the left tackle, going to go to Kansas City. He's a custom player. I will let you guys know when I see the next one. I have not yet. Mike Liddell, I think, was a custom player, so he's going to be taken. We got Tom Cloutier by the Browns. And then we have, let's see, Green Bay is up next. Our pick is upcoming. Let's see who Green Bay takes. They're going to take Phillip Allen, tight end from UCLA, so he's a custom player as well. All right, guys, so what are we going to do here with round 4, pick 21? So, again, we have 2 4th-round picks, and this one's really, for me, between Sarek Martin, the running back, or Paul Andrews. And it's really about which one do we think is going to be available at 25? Is anyone between 22 and 24 going to take either of these dudes? So really, we got to make sure that the teams that are ahead of us, are they going to take either of these guys? And I'm going to end up making the decision to go with Sarek Martin, a 7.5 grade in the combine, as our backup running back to Saquon Barkley. Now, we did lose Corey Clement. And with Sarek Martin as a custom prospect, look at his ratings, guys. Elusive running back, he could potentially be Saquon 2.0. And that's kind of what I'm banking on, because, guys, Saquon's only making $7 million a year right now. And he's on his 1 year left in his contract. And with our cap space being really bad, I don't know if Saquon Barkley is going to be a Giant for very much longer. So we needed to really look at running back. And I think we got a Saquon 2.0 in the making. Now, it does depend on what Martin's dev trait is. And this was a big one, too, because we got Paul Andrews at a 68 overall player. And it was a good pick. It was a good rating for us. And he's also got a hidden dev. And look at the speed. Look at the athleticism by Paul Andrews. But look at the route running. Right? The route running needs some work. So as a receiver, you're only as good as your route running, right? You can be slow, but if your route running is crisp and it's smooth, you can get open, you got good release. So Paul Andrews is going to be a little bit of a project, and that's kind of why he would dip down there in the 4th round. But he's a freak, you know. He's got the size, 6'3", and he's got 95 speed. He's a good catcher. He's got good acceleration and agility ratings. So I think he's going to work out for us, but the route running is something we really got to work on. So when he does get those upgrades through practice, through training, through game time, we're definitely going to have to keep pushing the envelope and keep making sure that we try to upgrade his route running every opportunity that we get. But in all honesty, I think, and I'm anxious to hear what you guys think, but I really believe way down deep here that our 4th round in this draft has really cemented this as a win for us. This draft was huge for us, and we did a bang-up job in that 4th round, getting Paul Andrews, a little bit of a project, but he is an athletic freak, and then getting Sarek Martin. So I think we did a bang-up job in this draft, the first 3 picks on defense, and then only focusing on offense to close the draft out. Again, we focused on trying to find best available players, but also looking at positional need. And I think we did a really good job in this draft, guys. So this is actually our last pick of our draft. We don't have a round 6 or round 7. Those were traded away by Gettleman. So the actual Giants draft picks here are what we're looking at. And we got to make a decision here. What are we going to do with round 5, our last pick? We're going to go with an outside linebacker. We're going to go with another wide receiver. We're going to go with an offensive lineman. I feel like we need to go with O-line because we haven't addressed that. We need some backups in that position. So let's take a look at those offensive linemen that are left over. Here's a guy, Oliver Bowen, the #1 left tackle available. We've also got some undrafted grades for left guards. And again, I know it's late in the draft in round 5, but I'm just not feeling taking a projected undrafted player. I know it's all relative, but I'm really looking for our guy. And I think it's going to be this guy, Oliver Bowen. Now, I feel like with his agility rating, his 40-yard times, and I feel like with his combine rating, he could move. And his size, I think he could move to guard. Sounds crazy, and maybe it might be a little cheesy, but I think he can. He's going to be a project. You can see with his grades. But they're pretty balanced, all things considered. So when we look at what he is at a left tackle currently, it looks like he might be able to transition to guard because his pass blocking numbers, his run blocking numbers are pretty equal. So they're pretty much on par with one another. So it's not like he's only a pass protector and not much of a runner. But I think he's going to be a pretty solid player for us in the future. He's going to be a grindy project type of guy. But you can see our draft here, guys. Jameis Winston with the hidden dev trait there, a 76 overall player. Good middle linebacker. He's a physical freak, 90 speed. The acceleration rating, very high. This is a guy that I feel like we definitely want on our defense. Again, more bang for our buck type of move here with Jameis Winston. Now, we didn't necessarily need a middle linebacker. We got Jewell. We've got Blake Martinez. You could have probably filled another need at that point, but I feel like it was a good pick. It was a solid pick for us. We're trying to plan for the future and a life without Blake Martinez. Now, Romeo Reyes, another good pick for us in round number 2. He's a 72 overall player with a hidden dev trait as well. He's a physical freak as well. He's got some good speed as a defensive end. Henry Tatum, a defensive tackle. Look at his acceleration. Look at his strength. He's going to be a nice run stopper for us. He's going to be a good backup for Danny Shelton. And he's, even with that normal dev trait, I think he's going to be a really good player for us down the line. Clark Russell, a 68 overall player. Actually a 69, but the morale is subtracting 1 from his overall rating. But, you know, again, he's going to be a project player too, and I don't see a starter job for him in the future, but I feel like he's going to be a good contributor for us on the bench or through the depth. Sarek Martin could possibly be Saquon 2.0. He's got to work on some other things on his game. Paul Andrews, I was impressed with Andrews as well. Again, he's kind of a project player as well. At 68 overall, again, another morale decrease, but he's got to work on his route running, but again, he's a physical freak. Got the speed, got the agility, got the acceleration, the catching. He should be a good one for us down the line. Oliver Bowen, again, left tackle. Could be our right tackle backup, but I'm really starting to think that he could shift to guard. I think that's probably what suits him at 330, 6'4". He's kind of a little tiny for a tackle, in my opinion. You know, you got my type of tackle's got to be 6'6", 6'7". Maybe 6'8". Just saying, you got to be a little tall. You got to be a little bit leaner than that. I don't know, 330. That's kind of big in my opinion. But either way, I think he's going to be a good player for us. Again, he's just kind of that project guy. Here's up on your screen, Liad Letterman, JoJo Carter. We had another player, Daryl Johnson, a linebacker. So the Chicago Bears loaded up on custom prospects. We got Trent Torres here as a backup quarterback to Joe Burrow. And we're taking a look at the draft for the Bengals. We're taking a look at the draft for everybody. kind of seeing where you guys and where your custom prospects are rated. There's Clay Campbell and his ratings. That's how he looks. He looks good in that Buffalo Bills uniform. So congratulations to Clay Campbell. We were looking at you, but didn't feel like free safety was a position that we necessarily needed. So the Bills had themselves a pretty solid draft for winning the Super Bowl. Josey from Houston, a speed rush type of player. You can see the number of his attributes for power moves at a 51. So, no, he's not going to be a bull rusher by any means. He's going to be that finesse type of guy with the speed, using his finesse moves, his swim moves. Not going to be a bull rusher. He's literally just going to be that finesse type of guy. So, yeah, interesting decision by the Denver Broncos, but he's going to be a good player, man. Hidden dev, 76 overall. I think they got themselves a pretty good one. I was eyeing Josey. Again, because we took Romeo Reyes, it wasn't a position that we weren't looking at. We needed to really solve depth at the right end spot, maybe even left end spot. Josh Bankston, strong safety, custom player. He's looking like he's going to be a pretty good one as well. You can see his stats up on the screen. Yeah, I like Josh Bankston. Now, I wish he would have been available to us at the time our second round pick came around, but you can't get everybody. That's just the way it goes. Latham Gringlas, 77 overall linebacker for the Brownies. Looked like he's going to be a pretty good one too. You guys are all going to be good. Let's just face it here. I don't have to say that about everybody, because it's just a matter of fact. You guys that get into this series, you guys are all going to be very solid NFL players in this series. I want you guys to be able to swing on by here and keep tabs on your players and have your guys have some success in this series too, which should be kind of fun to watch, especially those guys in the NFC too. Which one is going to win Rookie of the Year? That's the question mark for year number 2, guys. Josh Steffa, not a custom player, but I did have some interest in him. I wanted to see what his ratings were. Looks like a player that we totally missed on thanks to the Bucs. They drafted right ahead of us, and we couldn't nab him. Okay, so Arizona actually didn't have a single custom prospect, so they just avoided you guys like the plague. It's just crazy. No, Cassius Kidd, I thought that was a custom player's name. That's perfect. That's just a cool name in my opinion. Eric Kroom, this is a guy that I really wanted to go out and grab. Take a look at his numbers at defensive tackle. 77 overall player. Looks like he's going to be a good one. Aries Curse, I thought he was a custom guy. That's a great name, but he's not. Devon Rush, Kyle Barrett, some pretty solid players there for LA. Bryson Day, I actually do cover him in a couple screenshots later. I missed him here, but Angelo Valentine, a 64 overall left tackle. He's going to be a solid player for the Chiefs. David Forsberg for the Colts at 70 overall. Looks like a well-rounded type of player. Aiden Stevko, he's going to be a solid player as well. 72 overall. Look at the speed. Look at the catching. He's going to be good for the Colts for a long time coming. Jalen Carter, a free safety. 75 for the Super Bowl champs, the Dallas Cowboys. We're going to have to watch out for him on defense whenever we play them. Sucks that I have to say that about the freaking Cowboys. It's Super Bowl champs at 10-7. That's crappy. Bryson Day, there's your numbers. 74. Looks like a solid player. Gavin Goddard, another player we're going to have to watch out for in this NFC East. So the NFC East had a lot of good players that they drafted. Dalton Jett, that we're going to watch out for here in just a moment. We're going to get his screenshots. Brennan Hoff, looks like a good player at corner. Michael Kreutz, I wasn't impressed with his combine, but it looks like he's going to be all right. He's going to be pretty decent. Mike Liddell, custom player. Normal dev. That might have to get fixed up. I think he's a star dev. So if that's the case, I do have to go in and change that. Because again, guys, all of you guys that got in, you guys are minimum star dev. And we missed D. Williams for Philadelphia, so a quarterback. You're going to challenge Jalen Hurts here. Dalton Jett, a 79. Look at his numbers. He's going to be amazing. I can promise you guys that. Ethan King, center. Wanted to go out and grab him. He was a little bit lower on the board, but just couldn't swing it. Got Arthur Zambowski at left tackle. J.J. McKnight. Some pretty good players there for the 49ers. Now, Dexter Savage, the Jaguars were right ahead of us. I would have probably taken Dexter Savage over Dennis Winston, the middle linebacker that we took in the first round. Yeah, so it kind of sucks. I was really eyeing Dexter Savage. Ray Drake, good numbers there for a right end at 76. Niaz Williams. Now, we saw the quarterback for the Eagles was a custom player as well. So between him and Williams, man, it's there's going to be some good young quarterbacks here with custom prospects here in the future of each team. Speaking of young prospects, here's Declan Delaney at 74. Detroit, they kind of whiffed in my opinion with Declan Delaney at 74. No offense to Declan, but man, a 74 for a top 5 draft pick at quarterback? I don't know, guys. I don't know. I think they could have had something a little bit better. So we saw Aiden Linder, target for Detroit. We saw Phillip Allen for Green Bay. Now we see Luke Kepler for Carolina. Another good cornerback. And we're going to move on to New England and see what they did here with Laquan Manchester, 75 overall player, hidden dev. And look at the speed, man. Look at this guy. He's going to be solid for New England, so we got to watch out for that. Got to watch out. Oof. Laquan Manchester, he could be on the watch for Rookie of the Year, in my opinion. Sheldon Dinkelberg, round 1, pick 2 for the Raiders. 79 overall, defensive end, going to be a nice player. Keith Foreman III, 70 overall, look at his numbers. Solid across the board for Las Vegas. Let's continue on with LA. We got Alex Nazaro, cornerback, 73, hidden dev. Take a look at his numbers. He's a little bit of a project, in my opinion, at 73s across the board. Good, solid, decent little numbers there, but, you know, I think he'll turn into something with that dev trait. Xavier Hawkins, same thing with Xavier. He's got to work on some things as well, but, you know, he's going to be pretty good. Now, Isaiah Gordon, did you guys see that? Isaiah Gordon, the running back, one of the top-rated running backs in the draft class. I was eyeing him for our first round draft pick too, but it's kind of like we already have Saquon, so like, why would we do that? But you saw Titan Staten. He's going to be a solid wide receiver for New Orleans. Marshall Hendricks going to be really good out there for the Steelers, 75 with that hidden dev. Lambeau Ferrari, I'm interested. I'm very interested in Lambeau. 97 speed. Remember, he ran a 4.2 in the combine, so we got to watch out for Lambeau. And the name just fits him with the speed. No custom prospects for Tennessee, but there's Jamari Greenwood, the best player in the draft, an 80 overall. Superstar X Factor. So it's got the hidden dev, but I'm going to tell you right now, Superstar X Factor player going to Minnesota. So that was a really, really nice pick. Obviously, number 1 overall player. You got to take him. Kirk Cousins is on his way out. Blaze Killings is going to be a nice target for Jamari Greenwood. So he's already getting his career off on the right foot. We had another custom player for the Steelers that I missed. And then Trent Torres was a quarterback that I missed at a 63 overall. But he's going to be a backup to Joe Burrow for a little while unless he goes elsewhere. I also missed this player, Jeremiah Whitfield, a 74 overall player. Again, going to be a pretty solid one. All right, so to finish off today's video, let's take a look at our roster. Let's take a look at kind of the depth charts and kind of what we're looking at. We still maintained Devontae Booker through the offseason, so he's going to be competing with Sarek Martin for running back number 2. And then, of course, we saw Paul Andrews kind of getting buried down there in the depth chart, but we'll see him in, I almost said spring training, in NFL preseason action. Left tackle, again, we're going to move Oliver Bowen to a guard position. And yeah, because he's not going to play tackle for us. Maybe in a pinch he'll move to tackle. But again, I feel like he can do a little bit of both. But he will be a primary backup offensive lineman for us, no doubt about that. 2 defensive tackles now with Henry Tatum and Danny Shelton. Looking at our linebackers, you guys saw the middle linebacker stacked right there. So we got a lot of that, a lot of corners, a lot of DBs. A lot of safeties, so we're pretty solid there, guys. Now, I wanted to really get you guys some preseason action against the Cincinnati Bengals in this episode, but it's a little long, man. It's a little long. It's about 34 minutes right now, so I felt like couldn't really make that work. So I'll see you guys in the next one, which will be preseason action, and then after that, we'll get right into the regular season for year number 2. Now, keep in mind, if you want to be a part of this series, the open submission for year 2 form, the Google form, is now open. So you guys can go take a look at that in the pinned comment and the description of this video. As well as for patrons, make sure you guys are submitting those pretty early on, because I am going to have some help in creating this draft class, and I want to get it settled, and I want to get it finalized before we get into maybe halfway through the season. And I feel like that's really important, so the viewership and you guys know what the draft class is looking like, what positions we're eyeing. Get some more scouting videos in this series. Now, again, I want to know what you guys think about the NCAA 14 usage, if we want to do that or not. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Maybe you guys have changed your tune about it. I don't know. I really want to just keep poking the bear on that one, seeing what you guys are thinking. So, guys, that's it for the episode. Let me know what you thought about the draft. Let me know what you thought about your player if you ended up getting into the series. Are you happy with where you went? Are you happy with your rating? Are you happy with your situation? Ooh, question mark. Now, I can't personally do anything about moving you on from different teams. So if you got drafted by a team you hate, well, I can't really do too much about that. So that's just the luck of the draw, right? All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Leave a like if you like this thing. As always, thank you for watching, and peace.